Joining us now, of course, she is an all SEC performer, has set records this year at Ole Miss, home runs. She's among the best ever in home runs, RBIs, you've name it. Has helped them get to the NCAA tournament every year she's been in Oxford, and of course, just helped them win the Tucson Regional to get to the Super Regionals as Ole Miss will take on Arkansas. I speak of Lexie Brady, kind enough to join us here on In the Circle on D1 Softball, powered by 643. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Just finished up practice, getting ready to head to Fayetteville. Got a big super regional ahead of us this weekend. So,
Well, we're going to talk about that momentarily, but let's look back here. When you've had a chance now to reflect, what do you think about when you think of that Tucson regional, a tough regional? You had to come from behind on that Friday, beating Grand Canyon, beat our Arizona twice at their place to get through it. What now that you've had time to reflect, what comes to mind?
yeah, I know we entered the regional obviously knowing it was going to be a tough regional. I mean, even you look at the 3C GCU has a lot of success in their past. Arizona, obviously, a lot of success, good fan base. So we knew we were getting into a good arena with the fans there. So I mean, just the preparation going into the weekend, not overlooking any team, kind of preparing for everyone the same, but just kind of getting ready for the dogfight. We knew it wouldn't be easy. There'd be some games back and forth. So it's kind of what we expected going in there, but it was definitely fun being in that environment and getting to compete against some of the best in the country.
I know I've talked to you, and I think I talked to some of your other players throughout that Tucson region. I got the sense that this was like unfinished bit, that you've been waiting for this, that this was
Yeah.
unfinished bit, right? Just talk about that, expand on that a little bit. Does that go back to just how you weren't happy how things ended last year, being eliminated in the Lafayette area? Or take me where that mindset came, because that was the sense I got in talking to y'all, even going back to the Thursday pre regional media availability.
Yeah, I think, I mean, even before my time here in Oxford, there's some history back with Ole Miss going out to Arizona. So I know that that was kind of history for Jamie Trotzel. But just all the years I've been here, it's like we get to that regional. So it's just kind of overcoming that little bump to get past that. Because every year it's like we're in there, you get to the championship game, and then you just can't get past those 1-2 wins that you need to advance your season. So I think it was exciting because we knew that this team was very capable going in there. So it wasn't just like that we were excited to be out of regional. It was excited to have an opportunity to win a regional and advance your season another weekend. So it was definitely a turning point, I think, for our program just to be like knowing that we are there to compete and we're there to win a regional, and there's no doubt about that. So a lot of excitement that came with that.
What was it like when you got that final out and realized, hey, we did it, we got this regional win?
Yeah, to be honest, it definitely. I mean, Arizona's a great team. You can't really take a pitch off against them. And I kind of talked to a few of my teammates after the game, and I was just like, that might be the most mentally exhausting game I've ever been a part of, just because it's like if you take one pitch off, they could do some damage on the ball or they get something going all of a sudden. So definitely a lot of emotions that came with that at the end. A big relief. I mean, the whole game you're in it. So and then just a bunch of excitement for. I mean, I'm a senior, but I look around me and there's a lot of seniors. So everyone, you're playing for your last game, you're playing to end someone's season, and just like knowing that we have the opportunity to advance our season one more weekend and get to be in the same dugout for one more weekend. And I think that's really special for a lot of the seniors and even just the coaches. I was excited and happy. It's new coaching staff, so really happy for them and just the beginning of what they have going here. But definitely a lot of excitement. And yeah.
Well, one of the new assistants you mentioned is Nancy Evans, a great player at Arizona. There was a lot of talk about that and her return there. What was that like for her? Was it weird? Was it, and obviously you all playing for her, so you know that's part of it. But what was it like for her being back in those surroundings, but being the on the opposite side of the dugout there?
Yeah, I can only imagine there's a lot of pride that comes with that for her just being back. It was kind of cool. We were warming up for our first game against GCU in Arizona, just finished playing. And I'm not sure if they were fans or just different people kept coming up to her as we were in the bullpen. And I think welcoming her home a little bit. I'm sure when she steps there, it feels like home. And her and I kind of talked. I was like, is it nice being back? And she said, it feels like I never skipped a beat. So I'm sure there's a lot of nostalgia and emotions that come with that for her. But I think just a sense of pride and like showing, I mean, for her just being like this is a pitching staff that I'm a part of speaking for her. And I think that's cool to like show that, that she's continuing to advance the game and more than more than the ways that she did at Arizona.
In the 2 wins over Arizona, you jumped on them offensively there. Just talk
Mm-hmm.
about those fast starts because I thought that was huge. Take their crowd out of it a little bit. Obviously, especially in that Saturday game, which was just a wild game. It was a back and forth affair, but it
Mm-hmm.
looked to me that your offense was comfortable for the most of that weekend. Is that accurate? And it looked like with those fast starts.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously like respecting the pitchers and all that, but I think just like competing in the SEC, it's not making it more than it is. Like we see the best pitchers all over the country every conference game, so it's not making the moment bigger than it is. We're preparing to be in that arena and be against Arizona, but just kind of letting like the crowd provide the energy and the moment provide the energy and not making the situation itself bigger than it is. Like you don't need to get yourself amped up just because it's a regional or a regional championship. And I think that allowed us to settle in really, really early. In my opinion, especially a lot of those freshmen and newcomers, they didn't really treat it, or I didn't feel any anxiousness coming from them. So I think um, I don't know, maybe like Arizona even having some nerve and us like being able to settle into that. I just think that we did a really good job of like controlling our pace and our heart rate and allowing our offense to compete like that.
Of course, you got some balanced offense. I mean, you've got Jayton there hitting 377 as the top setting the tone, but then you got like Percy Yamas, who I don't think Arizona fans are going to forget her anytime soon with the weekend what she did to them. And then Aaliyah Binford, who's been a tremendous two-way player, Mackenzie Pickens. Just describe this offense for those that maybe haven't followed you all year and the identity of this offense because you've put up a ton of runs in bunches throughout the year.
Yeah, I think just holistically, like this year, it's been all across the board. Like, not it hasn't been like one player, one part of the lineup. I mean, you look at the beginning of the season, and a lot of the RBIs and run production came from the top of the lineup, and then you go to even like Mississippi State, and it came a lot from like the 7, 8, 9 hole. And I think it's just the ability that our offense is so dynamic. Everyone throughout the lineup can leave the yard for the most part. I mean, we have like one slapper in there, but I think everyone has the ability to hit the ball out of the park and just really offensive dynamic that we haven't really seen here before. I mean, I've been here for 4 years, and it's just the ability to rely on anyone at any given moment, even like coming off our bench. The ability for pinch hitters to come in there and automatically just they're in the game. It's just like one pitch and they're in the game, and they have the ability to do damage. I mean, we saw this weekend Taylor Roman came off the bench, and she's a great hitter and has done a phenomenal job all year for us. But just her ability to come in there and do her job, but definitely dynamic and definitely explosive, looking to attack, and we run competitively and looking to score runs.
Who's a player in your offense that you're like, hey, this player deserves to get more shine than maybe they have gotten? That goes underrated because like Yamas jumped out to a lot of people. I think
Mm-hmm.
in this regional for one. I mean, we could talk about her as well as one of those names, but who else?
Yeah, I think both of the freshmen, Mac and Percy, Mackenzie Pickens. They just have done like a phenomenal job all year for us. Both of them came in this fall and almost felt a little bit older than they were, I guess, like we inter squad and stuff. And they always kind of like stick out. You're like, oh, that like, she's a freshman, but she looks really good, and she's facing our ace. And I think that they've done a phenomenal job all year. And I'm happy that Persiyama, she's crushed the ball all year. She's in my BP group, so I got to watch it. But just like watching her have those moments, and she doesn't show a lot of emotion. She's pretty steady, but I know she's smiling inside, and it's a really cool moment for her to have. Mac has done a great job. I mean, she's honestly probably the most robbed on the team. Just hits a lot of line drives right at outfielders, but um, when she hits the ball, she hits it hard, and she's looking to do damage. And I think she came through big for us. SEC tournament, you look back at Florida win, and then just this weekend, getting those doubles, moving runners over, and has done a great job.
Your pitching staff, and correct me if I'm wrong. I feel this is the deepest staff throughout your career. Is that accurate? Would you agree with that? Like based on the quality of depth of arms. I mean, you got literally a staff where you could throw. You got Brianna Lopez. You got the
Mm-hmm.
young freshman in Gachino. You got Binford. Just to talk about this staff because I feel like that's the deepest you've had, certainly in the Traxel era. If you agree with me on that, and what does each bring to the table?
Yeah, I think ever since I've been here, we've had a pretty deep staff, a dynamic staff. I will say that this year is the most dynamic it is. Just like no one looks the same. Like every pitcher, you're getting a completely different look. And even as a hitter myself, like it's an adjustment, that you have to make, and it takes one at bat, maybe two at bats, and even the preparation that goes behind that. Like you're not practicing for drop ball all weekend. Like you have to consider everything that you're going to be facing. So I think that makes it our pitching staff really competitive, and they kind of work off each other that way. Where Miley's strength is maybe up, arm side, has a really competitive changeup, and then you get jammed in, and then you bring a Bree in where she's really competitive with her changeup. So it's a lot different look for hitters, and I think it's really allowed them to play on each other, different games, but yeah, definitely competitive, and all of them I trust 100% with the ball in the circle.
And it has so many options. I mean, you could go
Hmm.
to either one in any situation, like we saw in the Sunday night game when they kind of made the pitching change when they did, and it seems to have complemented each other so well.
Hmm.
How long did it take you to learn them?
Yeah. So Bree's been here. This is my second year catching her. She's very steady, easygoing. So our relationship was kind of automatic. She's not very difficult at all to work with. Um, Miley's a freshman this year, and I think it almost like caught me by surprise. Her confidence, I would say, like sometimes as a senior catcher, you go out to the mound with a freshman pitcher and have to like talk them down or like make the situation smaller. And I never felt that way, and I was like, okay, like let's do it then, like if you're there. So um her, I guess I would just like the confidence kind of took care of that. And then Aaliyah came in this past winter, and I think her resume speaks for itself. Like she's been very successful wherever she's at, and honestly, whatever she's doing. So just like her confidence that she has in herself was really easy for me to have confidence in her. Her ball is wicked, so she does a great job at what she's doing. But just like her ability to compete, I think, is what makes her such a successful player.
And such a great two-way player.
Mm-hmm.
Did that I don't know if that surprised you or not, but her offensive, I mean, a great offense. We knew about the arm, but her offense has even taken it to a different level. What a difference maker has she made to this team?
Yeah, huge. I mean, when we got her in January, we all knew that it would like there's a player that can change your program. Like she advances you extra seasons, extra innings, extra games. And I don't think we all kind of not expected that out of her, but weren't surprised when she provided that for us. She had a great job hitting at Baylor. I think she hit one off of us maybe in our regional when we played them. So I knew that she had the ability to hit the ball, and then you add Coach Earlywine in there, who's a great offensive coach. Obviously, just like levels up her game and makes her more of a dynamic offensive player. But yeah, she's just a competitor. So every time she goes up there, she's gonna swing with. She's not gonna take a pitch off, and I think that's same for hitting as it is pitching. So I'm very pleased with what she's provided to the team.
Let's talk about you. You're having your best year. I think you would agree. I mean, you put it all together offensively, defensively, the package, historic year, 16
Mhm.
home runs as we talk, school record that I mean, lasted to 20 some years. 2003, I think it was. It was when the record was set for a single season home run record. How are you different today than you were, say, maybe even a year ago at this time?
Yeah, I think our offensive coaching has really like leveled up my offensive game. I talk about Coach Earlywine. He's just like feeds a lot of confidence into the entire lineup. I know it's not just me as a hitter, and just the mechanics he provides, the wisdom, the experience. He's just been all around a great addition to this program. And then you add in Coach Bobby Buchanan, and he's done a great job. Same thing, the confidence, the plan and approach, just like going up to the plate and having uh, more of a plan, I guess. And I think that's been different for me this year. Like last year, obviously, I mean, you're seeing a rise ball pitcher. It's like, okay, be above. But this year goes like beyond that. It's like, okay, well, what pitch are you hunting? And what do you have to do to be successful on that pitch? I think a lot of that has came from that relationship I've created with him. But I think the biggest thing is maybe a little bit of the mindset too, like the confidence piece. Like it's my senior year. I don't want to look back on this year and be like, I had doubt in those moments. So just like being able to kind of free myself up, get my hacks off, and having the offensive lineup behind me has been also really helpful. I mean, not feeling that I have to do it all by myself, or that like I'm a big part in our production. It's if I have a bad weekend, I mean, we still put 12 runs across the board on a team. So it's just like relying on my teammates and even the bench to be huge in a game.
Were you aware of what you were doing, from a home run single season record wise, from just the numbers you put in? Were you aware of that, or was it one of those things you were locked in and then somebody like one day told you, hey, by the way, congrats? And you're like, what? Like, well, tell me through that, because I know people were following it closely to see if you would break the record and stuff. Were you aware of it?
Yeah, I guess not entirely. I knew when I like tied it or something. I because I had heard things there. So obviously I kind of knew that. I was like, okay, well, you're one away, but I don't think that really like changed. Like we didn't talk about it as like a team or a coaching staff or anything. Like it wasn't anything that our team was focused on by any means. Like we're focused on, winning and beating our opponent. And I don't think it changed much of my approach at the plate either. I mean, it was due time. um, I mean, you're going to get a hold of one eventually. So I think it wasn't um, too much in my head, maybe in the back of my mind a little bit. But yeah, you hear a little bit about it like through media and TV and stuff, but that's about it.
You're selling yourself short. It was a record that lasted 22 years. It's not, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's definitely something to be proud of. But I don't know. I just think that this program is going to continue to advance. Like what records are going to be broken, it's definitely, even we talked about it as a team, it's like, yeah, it's cool I broke the record, but it's really cool that it was in the regional game that we beat Arizona, and that's probably what you're going to remember more than like the 16th home run. So
Now, you say that, but when you hit the home run, did anybody congratulate you right away? Was it after the game? Like, how did that all like communicate?
yeah, it was pretty much right away. I mean, everyone kind of knew on the team, so there was lots of hugs. But yeah, I guess it was right away, and then a little bit after the game was over too.
That's very good, very good. I asked Coach Traxel about your team this year, and she talked about how this team was going to take some time to get used to each other with the new staff and the new faces on the roster, going back to Boca Raton when you started this season there. Do you remember the turning point where you felt like it was starting to click as a team?
Yeah, I definitely think that it was Arkansas SEC weekend. That just like is what kind of sticks out to me, which is fun because we got that rematch this weekend. But I think that's what sticks out to me. It's like you have a lot of freshmen, a lot of newcomers, and I think it's a lot of like, do I belong here? That kind of thing. Like, how well can I compete? Where's our team going to match up? And a lot of those questions. And then all of a sudden I mean, in the game and you're facing one of the best arms in the country, one of the best offenses in the country, Arkansas, and we have the ability to put up as many runs as we do and hold their offense to the runs we did. And it's like, okay, like this team's legit, and have like seeing the ability of like our freshmen to compete against those pitchers and just to be able to handle the moments, I think was a moment that it's like, okay, like we're legit and this team is very capable. And I think from there on out we played with this a little bit of a higher confidence and like approach of not being so careful, but it's like being there to dominate and win no matter who's in the other dugout.
Yeah, that was a weekend where you put everybody on notice. I think you got ranked right after that, I want to say, if not already.
Already. Yep.
But you put a big statement there and they've obviously turned out to be a great year as well. And as you mentioned, it's now a full circle there, the super regionals. But what's it like to compete against like a Brie Ellis in the year that she's having and the talented hitters and players that they have?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, you have to like respect their resume and their ability to do anything. But I always like try to tell my pitchers like don't always like look at who's in the box. Like you're looking to execute a pitch and compete on a pitch. I mean, anyone can do damage if you're missing spots. So it's just I think not making the moment bigger than it is like a battery perspective. But the preparation is probably the same. I mean, you just want to compete. It doesn't really matter who it is, but obviously respecting your opponent. They have really great players. I mean, Brie Ellis has done a phenomenal job and is a phenomenal athlete, but just not making anything bigger than it is. I mean, you're already in the super regional and there's a heightened environment with that itself. So
Now you're a senior, a kid from South Dakota. How do you end up? How did you end up coming to Oxford?
yeah, actually kind of a crazy story. I played on a small team. I'm from Sioux Falls. It's like the bigger town in South Dakota, if you want to say that. But I played on a team there. Head coach is there. I didn't really have the connections. I always honestly thought I was going to go to like South Dakota State or and that was like my dream, be a jackrabbit. And I went to like a tournament in Minnesota, Minneapolis, and the Gophers were there. And at the time, that's when they went to the Women's College World Series, and obviously they're in the stands, and like you're like, oh my gosh. And I guess I stuck out to them. I don't know. And Coach Jamie was at Minnesota at the time, and kind of recruited me, brought me on a visit. I loved it. Minnesota was great, and I loved her as a coach. And then she transitioned down to Ole Miss, offered me here, and I couldn't pass the opportunity to play in the SEC. And it honestly took a little bit of time for me. Even like my whole freshman year, I just couldn't get past the fact like I was in the SEC, and I was like this. I was fangirling every team, and just like having that the confidence that wasn't really quite there. But throughout the years, obviously settling in and understanding like, okay, you're obviously here because you're meant to be here. But definitely was a crazy story, and one I'll remember for a long time.
Well, it took you a little while to adjust. Right? Like, because
Yes.
I remember watching you. You play very sparingly your
Hmm.
freshman year, but it turns out that's why you still kind of like still trying to learn your surroundings and everything. It took you a
Hmm.
while.
Yes. Yeah, it definitely was adjustment. I mean, South Dakota, not to dog on the softball there, but it doesn't quite compare to the
Well,
SEC arm All
sure.
American you're facing. So yeah, it definitely was a time to adjust, but I think it took a lot of the help. I mean, my freshman year, I had great senior leadership, and then even going into my sophomore year, just like people being like, okay, Lexie, like calm down. So I feel like I try to be like that a little bit as a senior now for the freshmen that are here.
Who was a player that took you under your wing that you learned from that you've applied what you learned and you're applying that to the youngsters now?
Yeah, I mean, my freshman year here, it was Abby Latham, Sydney Gutierrez, Brady Roper. They were just like phenomenal seniors. I couldn't have asked for a better class to come in under. And I think Sydney Gutierrez just had this confidence that you couldn't take away from her. I mean, I think she thought she could go up to the plate and hit with a broomstick. Like no one could tell her different. I think just seeing her confidence and how that allowed her to compete at such a high level. And then Abby Latham at the time, she was always uh, just really nice to me, really kind to me, and saw a lot of potential in me that I might not have seen it myself at the time. But and both all of the seniors that I had this year continue to. I mean, I got texts flooded after we advanced to regional saying how proud they were and how cool it was. They remember when I was a freshman. So I think just that relationship is gonna. I mean, took me a while or took me a long way here, but will continue to take me a long way in life.
What's it like playing for Coach Traxel?
Yeah, awesome. I love Jamie. I've always been a big fan of her. Obviously, just following her down here. Really easy to trust her, in her process. She's a phenomenal defensive coach, and you even hear that from people that were like coming here, and people even that like were here and transfer out. They say no one will compare to Jamie as a defensive coach. She just does a great job, like developing athletes and their fundamentals, and then her preparation before the game. She, no joke, will stay up till the hours of the morning, just like preparing for teams. And I think that allows us to have a lot of confidence in what she's saying and just trust her because of the time that she invests into us. But she's a great coach, did a great job hiring the staff that we have now. And I think that her hard work to do that has allowed our season to advance to where it is now.
Now I can't have you on here and talk about Ole Miss and not mention obviously one of the more important figures of the program, and that's of course I'm talking about Finley.
Oh, yeah.
Give me give me your what's Finley? Give me your breakdown on Finley, who has become a very popular person, figure in social media landscape, and
Yeah,
has even tweeted at
yes.
us from time to time on the podcast.
Yeah, yes, she's the cutest little thing ever. She'll come out to the fields and stuff. Jamie kind of has her on the office, depending. Definitely, it's always a joy to see a dog, especially as cute as Finley is. But yeah, we love her. You can hear her bark sometimes, and Jamie tells her not to. But we always be feeding her Cheerios and trying to have her do tricks after. She's always on the field after a win, so it's always nice to get a little hug or pet from Finley after you take down some big teams. So she's awesome. I love Finley.
Does Finley travel? Does Finley travel in the postseason? What are the rules for Finley? Like I'm
Yeah,
always curious here.
yeah. I don't. I guess I don't think she's traveled with us. Always there at home games though. She
Okay.
has a little pass to be in the stands, which I know was hard work to get that, but she's important, big fan of us. So yes, at home games she's always there. I guess I don't think she's there when we travel.
Okay.
But
No, I just was curious. Do you remember the first time you met Finley?
do I remember?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I think Jamie got her my sophomore year,
Yeah.
maybe. And we do stuff at Jamie's house, just like hang out at the pool, watch TV and whatever. And I think that's where we met Finley. And yes, she was definitely some attachment to Jamie. So you kind of have to like pry her away from Jamie, but she's awesome.
My favorite part you're telling me is she's trying to, Jake, Coach Traxel's trying to tell Finley to, like, not bark and just disobey. That's hilarious.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the interaction, I can just envision the interaction.
Yes, yeah. It's like, okay, so Finley, you get it. Like it's like, don't do that. And I'm like, I've heard that before.
That is awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Did you have a favorite athlete growing up?
Oh gosh. I played all different sports. I played basketball and softball, track and field. I guess not really. I mean, I always looked up my older sister played
That's
softball.
fair.
Yeah, she didn't go into college or anything with it, but she's the reason I got into it. Just watching her and being at the ball fields, and then so maybe just like my sister or some people in my hometown that when I was in middle school they were in high school, and I didn't really pay that much attention to. In South Dakota, there's not like professional sports, so you're either like a Vikings fan or you have to go into Minnesota or Nebraska and stuff. So yeah, we didn't have a lot of sports on.
No, that's fair. Was it always going to be softball for you, or did you ever consider? Was there a point where you're like, maybe I'll just be a basketball player or track, or was it always
Yeah.
softball?
Well, I was never really good at basketball. I ran hard and I tried to get the rebounds, but that was about all I did there. I was fairly good at track. I won some state championships and stuff in South Dakota, so I had some Division 1 offers to do that. But my heart always lied in softball, like the team atmosphere and the competitive edge you get from that. I never quite felt competing in track and field, so softball always kind of was where my heart was at.
Do you remind your coaching staff about your track and field accomplishments, just in case it could come in handy on
uh,
in softball there in the base pads or anything like that?
Yeah, I threw shot and disc. So we randomly will have like recruits in here that were throwers as well. So that they'll always be like, Lexie, how far did you throw it? Just like get that conversation going. But I don't know, sometimes I'll randomly when we're shagging softballs, I'll like shot put one back into the bucket or something. But yeah, I mean, Jamie loves the athletic edge. Like, obviously, if you can play multiple sports and be a dynamic athlete, it's just going to elevate your game. But yeah,
That's good. So when you did track, you shot. What was the events you participated in?
yeah, I threw the shot put and then the discus.
How do you compare that to being a catcher and trying to throw out a base runner?
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't compare it to that as much as I would to hitting. Like it
Ooh,
in you because it's a rotational
sure.
um, explosiveness. So, and obviously a big part of shot and disc is like lifting. I mean, we spent every day almost going as heavy as we could. So I think that just allowed me to become stronger and add to my ability to hit the ball hard. But I picked it up really easily. And I think it's like when you rotate your hips and your body, when you swing, it's kind of like same feel when you're throwing a shot or a discus. So it definitely came naturally. And I do think it helped like my ability to like explode and understand some of those feels as a hitter.
What's your goals post softball?
Yeah, I don't. I keep saying I don't know, but I probably should kind of know by now. Um, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna GA here at Ole
Okay.
Miss. Get my master's degree. I want to be a coach. In the summers, I go back home and do some coaching, just like small teams in South Dakota. And I just found a love, and I don't want to leave the game. I love the game too much. You'll probably see a lot of emotions for me whenever the last game comes, but just the game has done a lot for me. I want to kind of give back in that sense. So I'd love to, coach at the highest level, but just GAing here, getting that experience and seeing where that takes me.
When your career ends, whenever that is, All right, years from now, you're going to be an alum. You're going to come back. I mean, you're one of the more successful players of all time in this history of the program and with the tournament bids and everything. What do you want people to say about you when your name comes up?
Yeah, just that I was a good teammate and hopefully a good senior to the girls that are here now. But all the years that I've been here, just a good teammate, easy to get along with, and provided a lot of confidence and just like fed a lot of confidence that like this program is what we make it, and just because we're at Ole Miss that's historically like not as great in the SEC doesn't mean that this year we can't be not as great in the SEC, just that I fed a lot of confidence to allow this program to get to the next level that it's going to continue to reach.
Well, you got a big one this weekend, Super Regional against Arkansas. I know you're getting ready for it and you've been busy with that, but I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us here on the podcast. Hey, congrats on the success you've had to this point. Good luck this weekend, and thanks for telling your story and talking to us here on In the Circle.
Yes, thank you for having me.